got the Green Bay Packers versus the Houston Texans. Look, Green Bay, sometimes you just run into a team, and that's, it is what it is. I'm not worried about the Packers at all. Tampa Bay coming off a loss. Some would call it a bad loss, but again, everybody just hates Chicago for some reason. The 5-1 Chicago Bears, they suck. They're so bad. They're going to be 13-3 at the end of the year. They're going to be the worst 13-3 team of all time. They're not going to be 13-3, but I'm just saying, like, everybody hates on Chicago, but they're freaking 5-1, man. As Bill Parcells would say, you are what your record says you are. Their defense is legit. Everybody wants to say that the only good teams are the ones that can score 30 points. Sometimes the good teams are the ones that hold every team under 10 points. And Chicago's defense is good, everybody. Come on. Anyway, Tampa Bay coming off that loss. Look, Aaron Rodgers, when was the last time he threw 2 interceptions on 2 consecutive drives? One a pick six, one down to like the 3-yard line. They score on the next play.
I can give you the answer to that.
Oh, please do.
Yeah. They mentioned it in the game. And it wasn't just 2 consecutive drives. He hasn't thrown 2 interceptions in a game since 2017.
That's insane. It's insane.
That's insane.
Yeah,
crazy.
Probably easily the worst game of his career. He was under 50%, if memory serves, in terms of completions. Tampa Bay was ready, man. Davante Adams was back, and they were just on him like an angry swarm of bees. They were on Davante Adams, so when the targets went there, they ate him up early. Those 2 interceptions, if they don't happen and Green Bay even punts on those drives, that game's closer. And then the Packers starters finish out the game. That killed my fantasy team, by the way, because I had Tanyan and Aaron Jones in that game. Tanyan ends up going out with an ankle. I think he came back in a little bit later, but anyway, Tampa Bay, they were motivated. If Green Bay and Tampa Bay play again, in the playoffs or something like that, it's going to be a much closer game. I'm not worried about it. Green Bay, everything's been stacking right for Green Bay all year. They just ran into a juggernaut. You could tell from the first 3 snaps, man, offensively and defensively. You could tell that Tampa Bay was going to run away with that one. I picked Green Bay going into the week. As soon as I saw the film, I'm just like, oh gosh, this is going to be ugly, and it was. So there you go. But anyway, Green Bay this week against Houston, they're going to bounce back. Everybody, Aaron Jones might be the start. It might have his best start of the season. I love him this week. I'd like Aaron Rodgers to bounce back. He's not. Come on, guys. You think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a bad game next week after what we just saw? No way. Davante Adams is going to get in the end zone. And I do like Tanyan to bounce back, assuming he's healthy. We'll see what that is, but I think he'll be all right. Houston, on the other hand, hey, man, great job kind of coming back on the Tennessee Titans. Couldn't close it out. Romeo Crennel, buddy, kick the freaking extra point. What are you doing? Come on. Anyway, Deshaun Watson.
I disagree there.
Look, they're bad.
The game was over if they converted that 2-point conversion. It was over.
I think it would have been over anyway if they'd kicked the extra point. I don't mind. It just depends. And it's Houston. What do you care if you're 2-4 or 1-5? Come on, who cares? Anyway, Deshaun Watson, start him. David Johnson, he's not getting the yards per carry, but they are giving him volume, so I think you can start him. He's not my favorite start of the week. I might not start him in my lineup. He's kind of my backup running back, but depending on how the bye week shake out, I haven't taken a look at my next lineup. But you could start him based on volume. Will Fuller, hey man. He's staying healthy. Start him. Cooks gets in the end zone 2 weeks in a row. Even Cobb gets in the end zone last week. Fells gets in the end zone, I think, for the second week in a row as well. So there are different options, but the only one that I really feel comfortable starting, or ones I should say, are Watson and Fuller. Take it away, David.
Well, we're in agreement here. Do not panic on the Green Bay Packers. And I think this is one of those things where in hindsight it makes so much sense. You kind of smack yourself in the head like, why didn't I see this coming? Yeah. This was obviously a tough matchup for Green Bay. I don't know how I didn't see it coming, because what does Green Bay want to do? What have they excelled at doing? They've been a run-first team.
Yep.
Get the play action going off of the run. And what has Tampa been notorious for doing? Mm-hmm. Shutting down the run game.
Yep.
So I think we should have seen.
Give them more respect to Tampa Bay.
I don't know why we didn't.
I don't know either. And I like, seriously, so I write down in my notebook here, I write down all the games and stuff, David, and I tally up our results, and we're doing good, as we mentioned at the top of the podcast, and I was convinced that I had picked Tampa, and I'm looking at my notes and I have GB written down. I'm like, why did I do that? Tom Brady off a loss. When was the last time he lost 2 games in a row? I mean, like what was I doing? Actually, I think it was last season, but still, come on, man. Like, the matchup, it was a bad matchup for Green Bay, with Tampa Bay coming off a loss that they feel was bad. Tom Brady, after the 5-down thing, After come on, like we should have seen it. It's so obvious in hindsight. And I'm pissed at myself for picking Green Bay, to be honest with you, against the spread last week. But
it's
whatever.
All right. We both did. We're both bozos. But Rodgers only 160 passing yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I'm still all aboard the Bobby Tonyan train, guys. He did have that ankle injury, got banged up a little bit. But you look at the receiving line, he was still finished second and tied for second in receptions with Valdez-Scantling and Aaron Jones with 3. So they still don't have a second receiver. No second receiver is stepping up in this offense. It's Valdez-Scantling and Darius Shepard behind Davante Adams, guys. Bobby Tonyan's going to continue to be featured, and he's going to have those easy high percentage targets that are in the flat, that are just in the middle. Let him catch the ball and get yak. It's a terrible game. 3 for 25 for a tight end in his quarterback's worst game of the season. You could do a hell of a lot worse than that, guys. Do not release Bobby Tonyan.
No, and I believe that was all in the first half, David, if I'm not mistaken. And Green Bay, I mean, really, they pretty much pulled their starters. They were just trying to run out the clock and get out of there without getting hurt by the end of the game.
Tonyan, if anything, this is a buy low opportunity for Bobby Tonyan, because I still want him over Evan Ingram in the Hayden Hurst of the world going forward for the rest of the season. So it's a buy low. Go get Bobby Tonyan.
Yep, agreed. Let me hit you with the line here. We got Green Bay -3 versus Houston. Who do you got?
Take Green Bay in the bounce back here. They're still a good team, I think. In Houston, they're playing better, but not very many points.
Houston. What? I mean, maybe the worst schedule in history. What an awful start to the season in terms of just scheduling for Houston. It's unreal. But, Green Bay, I'm going to take them for the same reason we should have taken Tampa Bay last week. I mean, Rodgers, bad look for Rodgers, the 2 interceptions that really literally cost them the game. I mean, it was not competitive after that. And then, the matchup's better. Aaron Jones will be back. Not worried about it at all. Next game,